Hi folks, today myself Prashant and along with my team Shruti Parik and Vikas Kumar are going to present presentation on superstitions and how to science use in dispelling them. Oh my god, I just got a message in WhatsApp. If I don't forward it in next minute, I may get a bad luck. I guess today is not a full moon. If it is, I don't want because I'm fear of full moon. These are kind of superstitions we generally hear from the people. And today, in our presentation, we want to give you what is the actual meaning of superstition and what is the scientific explanation of that superstition and facts and experiments on superstitions and dangers in believing superstitions. Not every superstition is danger, but some superstitions are there which are dangerous to follow and how the scientific methods can be used to dispel these superstitions and dispelling about social solar eclipse and finally conclusion. And I crossed my finger. Yeah. What do you think superstitions means? Any guess? Well,
Following some tradition or something.
mhm. Yeah, absolutely. But the tradition which is followed is not a proper way. I mean, somebody says just uh, the our ancestors follows, we are following, but we are not going in a logical way whether it is useful or not, whether it is practically applicable or not, whether it is reality, whether it is really happening or not. So, the people generally believe in superstitions who have a kind of mindset to gain a good luck. Like, I don't want to do hard work. I don't want to study. I don't want to prepare for exam, but I have to pass the exam. Please give me one mantra, or please give me some kind of stuff that to get a good luck. So these kind of things, which believe in fate or magic, which actually originates in irrational minds to gain a good luck, is what is superstitions are. So in this slide, I would like to give you some general superstitions that we often use, in around the people, like keeping your fingers crossed. We have seen a lot of people cross their fingers, especially when they want some kind of victory. They cross their fingers to get some success or to pass in the examinations, right? So as you see in the right side, it's a general superstitions like don't pour salt on salt down, or don't, like seeing a black cat, and um, it will be bad luck if your mirror will be broken, and don't walk down off the ladder. So these are general superstitions. On this particular slide, I would like to explain more details of superstitions in Valentine's Day. So what are the superstitions we have in Valentine's Day is, if a girl on the Valentine's Day, if she saw a dove, then she will probably will get married with a golden heart person. That means a good person. Unfortunately, if she saw a sparrow, then she might get married with a poor man. And very fortunately, if she saw a goldfinch, then she will definitely marry a rich man. I don't think so. This will happen or not. But these are the superstitions that have regarding the Valentine's Day. And do you ever think about the even numbers or odd numbers? Like for me, when I was in childhood, uh, I always wanted a even number marks. I believe that even number marks gives me some kind of positiveness. Or when I talk to a person, I see the even number of minutes. If that is an even number of minutes duration of call, then I believe that that's a success to my conversation. Yeah. Now, coming to the scientific spirit. So, uh, till now we have seen some superstitions which doesn't have any logic or any proof. But right now, we can test that superstitions and how extent is it real, how extent is it practicality applicable in the nature. So experimentation and observation and exploration of those superstitions is nothing, using the science is nothing but scientific spirit. Um, Scientists may not humble, but science is humble. For everyone, truth is for everyone. In human nature, scientific temper and spiritual inclination are the single facet of human personality. Let me give you the detailed explanation of this line. In human, we have two kinds of mentalities. One is we will get a knowledge from spiritual way, and another is we get knowledge from the world. So if a person explore his knowledge in spiritual manner, he want to prove his spirituality in the world. He want to prove his experience in the world. So he makes some experiments and he will observe what, how applicable is it, and exploring his facts of spiritual knowledge. All this comes under this human personality. Yeah. So now my friend, team member Shruti will take over the presentation. Shruti, over to you.
Thank you, Prashant. So far, Prashant gave you a proper explanation of what superstitions and what scientific spirit is. So we came to a conclusion, a knowing that superstition believes it exists without a base or without a reason, and it is just followed as it is related to some of the religion, or somehow it is embedded in the mind of people that if we perform this particular ritual or particular belief, it is going to be the right thing overall. So let me just bring out few incidents and few examples where this superstition beliefs they were actually practiced by people. So the first one is number 13. So this number 13, 13 is a symbol of danger, and also it is termed to be unlucky number. And so in Chandigarh, which is one of the beautiful city in India, there are overall 47 sectors, but we cannot find number 13 in that, because they believe that number 13 is unlucky for Indians, especially in India. That is why they did not include number 13 to be one of the sector of in that city. The second example for the same number 13, I would bring out about ISRO. Well, after PSLV 12, according to numbering, 13 will come into the action. But they skipped the 13 part and then they just went to PSLV 14. So the irony is that even we are the science and technology is developing a lot, and ISRO being the space and research organization, it still believes in such facts. There is no properly proven reason behind it, but it is it is stamped that number 13 is unlucky for Indians. Whether it is proved or not, people should blindly believe it. So that is about number 13. The second one I want to talk about is the Hindu milk miracle. So it happened in 1995, where people started observing that idols in temple, they were actually drinking the milk which was offered to the idols. So people started believing that God is really around them, and this superstition believed this watch was later observed in various parts of other countries also. But later, um, and due to this, the rate of milk was also increased. It surged a lot, and the whole lot scene was created at that time. But then scientists came forward and they found out, it's not proved yet, but they somehow they gave an explanation that it might be a capillary action where milk is added with some red dye, due to which people are unable to see the flow of milk. So this was actually proven by scientists, that but still people think that it is one kind of superstition. And now I would like to talk about the incidents. One took place in laboratory, and other is about the late author Michael Crichton. So Robert from Key Laboratory, it is in New York. So what they believe is, while performing any experiment, they divide the group of students, including faculty, into two groups, and in such a way that the first group should watch the experiment by totally believing that it is going to be a huge success. Even if one student or faculty from that group escapes or come out of that room, it is believed that it is going to be a totally flop project. At the same time, the other group had to wantedly get out of the room, just not to jinx the project. So this is one of the belief which it doesn't have any it doesn't make any sense in evaluating an experiment, but still uh, they believe this superstition. The next one is about the late author Michael Crichton. So he is the one who wrote Jurassic Park. And while writing his novels, he used to practice this. It's very funny because the thing is, whatever he eat during the first day of writing his novel, he continue eating the same food until the novel is finished. He believed that if he tried to taste any other food, it would be a loss to his writing. That is why these are some of the beliefs that people still follow, though it doesn't make sense, but people still follow it. So superstitions belief on one side can be good, but if it doesn't work for a person, it may have a darker side. So let's talk about the dangers of believing superstitions. Next slide. So dangers. The harm from these superstitions is the way it affects our behavior. And the first one is it afflicts societies. It creates disturbances among the understanding level of the people, especially in the society. People talk, and even if somebody is trying to prove due to these superstitions belief, when people bring this into the experiments or the progress of other people, it tend to lower their confidence, and sometimes it also affect the person mentally. So it create imbalances in the society, as well as it have a negative impact on the mental health, where people doesn't allow themselves to grow, or have this understanding of logical thinking. They believe in this unexplained or unexplored facts and try to compress or lower their ability to explore things. And they also have lack of scientific look on life, as I told, in the negative impact effect of mental health. So one example I wanted to give here is that recently I came across a news that is that parents, they killed their their daughters, believing that they have the power to bring their life back, which is not possible. A normal human being will never believe this, but they were totally involved and they were believing these superstitions a lot, that it had a impact on their mental health. They weren't behaving like a normal human being, and due to that behavior, they killed their daughters, whose life cannot be bought back. So these superstition beliefs can really turn a person into a foolish person, with the person who can do anything without having a proper knowledge or understanding of it. So now I would like Vikas to come over and talk that how can science come into picture, and it can abolish this superstitions. Over to you.
Thank you, Shruti. By now, you would have known how many dangers do superstitions pose to our society. So there is an urgent need to dispel them, and this is where scientific method comes in. So to dispel superstitions, we 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 mainly focus on two methods. The first one is the evidence part. So if anyone claims that a certain superstition is true or not, ask them for ask them to provide evidence of where that superstition came true. And you mostly hear of people saying that I heard this happened to this person, or I heard from my friend that he heard from his relative that he heard from his relative that that person was affected by this superstition. But personal stories are not considered as evidence. Evidence should be verifiable, and be it should mostly be physical evidence, such as medical diagnosis of illnesses, and maybe certain harm caused to certain person that's actually countable. And we should not count incidents of where maybe maybe a rock fell on a person because he walked under a ladder as evidence, because there will be numerous cases where numerous people after walking under a ladder haven't experienced any sort of side effects. And the next method is investigating the origin of this superstition. So as we can see now, most of the superstitions came from a very long time ago, where during which science was not that much developed, and people were not able to understand why a certain natural phenomenon is happening. And so the next point is to investigate why did this originate. And it's mostly because they attributed some other phenomenon to unfortunate incident happening after following a certain tradition or something. And since we now know of these two methods, we're going to apply this in our next slide. So you all know that solar eclipse is a natural phenomenon, but at the same time, you know of many superstitions that are attributed to it. So I would request the audience to maybe inform us of these superstitions, if you please.
That's a day where a devil will be come to the earth, I guess. Something like something supernatural phenomena will be or triggered on that day.
I only know that I am not allowed to go out.
That's exactly true, and they impose a lot of restrictions on women, especially on pregnant women, now to venture out during a solar eclipse, because they think that it emits some sort of special radiation that might affect them. And so let's apply scientific method in order to dispel this superstition. So you have mostly heard stories about this from your parents or grandparents regarding how it affected them or how it affected their neighbors. But if you verify it very clearly, most of the stories that they say can be attributed to other common factors that we misappropriate it to be the result of the solar eclipse. And for example, a person might go out and he might go out during a solar eclipse, and he might slip because of a banana peel or something, and we think that a solar eclipse would have caused him to slip. And so let's move on to the next method, that is the origin of the superstition about solar eclipse. As we all know, solar eclipses were a very common phenomenon even before humans ever existed. And so this superstition is very old, and maybe thousands of years old, and where people feared what they have not what they do not know. For example, it's everyone will fear if they don't know why at a certain at a certain time an entire place goes dark, especially during the day. And it is exactly what happens during a solar eclipse. And astronomy was not that much developed at that time to actually tell that solar eclipse causes because moon comes before the sun, and it's a very natural phenomenon. And also, solar eclipses are very rare, especially when compared to lunar eclipses. So that's why lunar eclipses are not that much feared, and the restrictions mainly apply to solar eclipses than lunar eclipses because people fear those things which happen very rarely and very suddenly, whereas lunar eclipses happen quite frequently. So I hope these two methods help you to dispel the myth about this. And now we are going to move to our conclusion part. We have discussed various dangers that superstitions may pose, especially because of blinding them or believing them blindly. And also, we have seen some superstitions followed throughout the world, like believing number 13 is unlucky and walking under a ladder is or causes unfortunate incidents. And we have also seen how we can apply scientific method in order to dispel this superstition. And we have also done a case study on solar eclipse into how we can apply the scientific method to maybe dispel some of the myths and beliefs that are attributed to it. And we're going to conclude this presentation by saying saying to you that please don't believe blindly and apply science to anything that doesn't make sense to you. Thank you.
Yeah, guys, started.
Okay. Prashant, you presented the introduction very well. And also you cited from some of the reasons or some of the reasons or some of the dangers that superstitions pose to us. So I think it provided enough motivation for our presentation to happen. And,
Yes,
and that's
Prashant.
what I have.
Thank you.
The introduction was very perfect. I mean, you started with superstitions and you added examples. It was very interactive, and later you jumped into scientific spirit. So the introduction was very good. It explained that how are we going to follow for the further slides.
Thank you, Shruti. And coming to the middle, for Shruti part, uh, you clearly and correctly explained that superstitions story, everything in which areas, like the famous news that we have till now. So it actually giving more understanding of superstitions, and that's very good, nice way. Yeah, I like to Vikas to give a comment.
Yes, Shruti, you have a lot of information to present, but you minimize the amount such that we can understand what you're presenting about clearly. And I think it would have been a little bit better if you were able to make ideas or your ideas more simpler, especially related to that laboratory. I mean, laboratory or something. We understood it, but it would have been better if you made it more simpler.
Okay, I'll work on it.
Yeah. Coming to the conclusion part, because you did very well. You taken a point from each and every speaker and you concluded it. That's a nice thing, Vikas. And you also given direction for the future work, the pinpointed suggestion. Don't listen to everybody, just go follow the science. That's very nice. Yeah, I like the way you given the presentation.
And feedback here is that I like the case study part. So Initially you started by what to do, and later you gave a case study based on the same factors which you included in the previous slide. So that gave a proper flow and explanation of how to the audience that how to think if such situations come up. So it was good, and even the conclusion, it as Prashant told, it was pinpointed. Overall, it was good. Just the thing is that everything, it was like 99% good. 1% is about the tone. You seem very serious. So if you could.
I will try. I will try to put a more less serious tone.
Okay.